The sun has set here at the Geico Saluda Young Farmer Truck and Tractor Pull presented by E3 Spark Plugs. The fans are in the house, both young and old alike, waiting for the super modified two-wheel drive category. We'll kick it off with Jeremy Nelson out of that huge Nelson camp. The truck is called Midnight Gambler. Did a solid job in the first hook of the season. Just missed the podium by one spot. Wow, and clicked that one off early. Something breaking in the truck.
And it could be something as simple as a failure on a $300 blower belt out there causing that. And we'll take another look here at the replay to see where it is. You know, Jeremy Nelson does such a great job out here of just really waiting to apply throttle and give it all that alcohol when he feels the truck really hook up to the track. And you can hear as it cuts off there, that's where it could have been that blower belt failure. Now, oftentimes it leads to them finding some kind of other mechanical failure inside the engine. As you take a look at that top pulley there, you can see the blower belt is gone. So that's going to be the issue for him as his run will end short.
Here's a look at the pulling order. Jeremy Nelson obviously already done. Jim Mattingly will come up next with Thor. And Jim having a good outing here in the first hook of the season just one day ago. A huge field, though, as we talked about before, 15 trucks in here, all swinging the bat, and a lot of these teams are multi-truck effort teams, and they are extremely good at what they do. All right, here comes Mattingly, as we talked about, just one round to go, finished on the podium in the third position. So a tough player here right out of the gate for 2016.
When it was just a great night for Mattingly Machine, too, as his son Jamie took home the win. So these guys got it dialed in, and they know how to make it happen here on the Carolina clay.
When it's so early on in the class, it's hard to say that that one's going to be good enough to win at 295 and 53, but based on how it looked, I just don't know how they get much prettier than that.
When it seems as if this track is much better than it was just one hook ago, and the buzz in the pits the afternoon as they were seeing it come together out here is that this is probably going to be, they were prognosticating, one of the best tracks that they've ever had in their 4 seasons down here at Saluda. And by the looks of that beautiful hook, I can say that we're going to have a lot of guys hooking up hard and extending those distances.
Well, I got to say, I think you're dead on there, Leslie. I mean, this track, one round to go, they really had to feather the throttle. Some of them wait until near half track to go full throttle with these things, and it looks like they're able to get after it here pretty quickly tonight. Chad Mayhill, the truck is called Two-Timing. This truck did an awesome job 1 year ago at this hook. Finished second overall, 287 and 80, and comes out here again and shows some strength to jump up into that second spot.
When I think this is where, you know, Chad Mayhill being out of the driver's seat for about 8 years operating a sled is really going to show on the track. And as you can see, it's a really rough launch for him off the get-go. But once he gets it hooked up and going, tapping the brakes to kind of straighten it up, keeping away from that white out-of-bounds line over there to keep in bounds. And it's going to take Chad a little bit of time to adjust to being back in the driver's seat. So we'll see him at these first couple of events just trying to get his feet wet again and get a feel for the truck after being gone for 8 years.
That is a long hiatus. Up next will be Tim Messer, the truck called Thin Blue Line. As you can see, a brand new body here. Still doing some body work on it. Didn't have time to put the paint on it, but a great looking hot rod here, brand new for 2016. And Messer comes out here and takes over the lead. He just misses that 300-foot mark at 299 and 53.
Boy, and I think the biggest advantage for him here is that it looked like he was one of the few guys that did not have to tap the brakes. we'll get a good shot. If you can keep that sled rolling straight, keep all that rolling weight in a straight line, all your momentum going straight forward, and you can see he does veer off to that left side of the track, but doesn't have to tap those brakes. That's really going to help out your efforts. Remember, every time you tap the brakes, 5 to 10 feet off your distance, even if it's just a little pity pat out there.
All right, coming up next will be another tough player. This is Lisa Tatum. Struggled here in the first hook of the season. We'll see her when we come back. Currently, there's a look at your top 3. The numbers are getting big if you want to win here tonight.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn.
General Tire, anywhere is possible.
And by Toyota, let's go places.
And we welcome you back to the Geico Saluda Young Farmer Truck and Tractor Pull presented by E3 Spark Plugs. A light sprinkle has been coming down throughout the entire class as we watch the full throttle truck tighten the chain here. Lisa Tatum behind the wheel, former class champ, struggled one night ago, I should say. We'll see if they've got it figured out here. And a better looking effort for sure at 286 and 48. Good enough to jump into the top 5.
And it seemed like she was taking a look at the track as holding a lot of power, needing a lot of power out there as she went to the throttle really, really early. We'll have to pay attention to our drivers and see how they adjust.
One of my favorite trucks out here. It is an awesome looking ride. And Leslie Mears had a chance to speak to the driver earlier.
It's not too often that you hear about the supercharger lifting in one of our super modified 2-wheel drive trucks, but Irv, that's exactly what happened to you last night.
Yeah. At about the 200-foot mark, we had a really good run going, and I saw the back of the Charger through the windshield just kick up in the air, and the run was over. I mean, basically, your blower studs hold the blower down, and they sheared off. They're an aluminum stud. They're meant to kick in the case of a detonation issue. That's a safety factor, and that's why we run the straps to catch the Charger when that happens. But growing pains. Everything up top this year on the truck is new, and we're making more boost. We're making a lot more power. It's growing pains. I think we had a rough ride 2 weeks ago at a test and tune, and I think it just jarred things around enough that it may have pre-cracked those studs. And the power last night, it let go on me. Yeah, today we spent all day working on it. It's been completely gone through. It's bolted down differently now. Newer style stud being used. We should be good tonight. We hope to really make a good pass.
Well, and that's just the way it goes sometimes, like he said. I mean, new blower, new combination, more power. You're going to find the next weakest link, so we'll see if they have it fixed. Taz Toy. Yeah, and great news for Irv Clark there. It does look like they fixed that power plant. Now with all the power, they've got to adjust the weight a little bit to get that thing to really drive out there. But the truck sounded awesome, and no doubt they're making progress forward. 275 and 18.
When it's good to see, of course, after those guys labored so long all night to get it fixed. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, you know, is that they've kind of got mobile shops with them in their trailers to make sure that they can work all night to make it back to the next hook the next day.
We talk about that massive Nelson camp, and John Muma is part of that camp. Of course, a former champion inside of this category as well. Always a tough player. The truck is called After Midnight. He finished third here 1 year ago, 291 and 51. Will currently put him third here tonight.
And that's a good, solid effort out of this team who finished fourth just one hook ago. Everybody staying on the left sideline after they saw Tim Messer make that awesome run to take the lead out there. And you can see he's wheeling on it hard, so close to that sideline. Makes me nervous when I see him get over there so close, but they've got that line of sight. They've got that vision to know when to not tap the brakes and just let it ride.
Boy, great looking stuff, and the entire Nelson camp is so switched on. Speaking of that camp, here comes Jared Nelson. The name of this truck is Midnight Revenger, sponsored by Boyd & Sons. Earlier today, Leslie Mears had a chance to speak to him about the new ride.
Most of the time when you have team trucks, you try to keep everything identical, but the Nelson team has decided to go with a change this year. And Jared, you've got a completely different chassis than your partner truck.
Yeah, we felt like it was time for a change. We wanted to try to benefit ourselves. Not that what we had wasn't working, but I wasn't happy with just top 5. I felt like we was always struggling. So normally you try to keep everything the same, but in this case we wanted to try to better ourselves. So we're splitting apart a little bit, try to see if it's for the better, and if it is, and next year there might be 2 of them like this.
What's the advantage of going with the tubing chassis versus the wedge chassis?
Generally the tubing is lighter, and in our class the big thing is weight transfer. We try to get as much weight to the front as we can on a good track, and therefore we try to lighten up the back, and with the tube's lighter than the wedge rails. So we were able to gain probably a couple 100 pounds, and hopefully that'll come in handy somewhere.
Always tweaking, always looking for another advantage, and anytime you can create some movable weight, not only in this style of motorsports competition, all styles, it certainly is an advantage at some point in time. Here we go. And boy, he planted that front end. He finished second one night ago, but he's trying to win it all here tonight. We have a brand new leader at 3:06 and 50.
And he definitely went back and looked at the notes from last year, finished 4th on this track 1 year ago. And so it's very important that these guys look at those tune-ups. But check it out. He just waits and waits. Watch the butterflies on the injector hat. And you can see finally going full throttle, and that's when the vehicle is completely hooked up. His patience really paid off, and talk about that new chassis for him. That perfect weight distribution of the 6,200 pounds as he carried the front end perfect at the end.
The only truck surpassed the 300-foot mark, and he's looking for a win here tonight. But this one is far from over. There's a look at our top 3 with plenty of tough competition yet to go. We just had our first truck out over the 300-foot mark and the 2-wheel drive category here at the Geico Saluda Young Farmer Truck and Tractor Pull, presented by E3 Spark Plugs. Spike is up next. Jamie Mattingly having a great hook just one night ago. The Spike truck came out here, won it all. But boy, the mark has been set out there. You can also see the moisture down, the rain starting to pick up. That could change everything. .281 and 29 for Jamie Mattingly.
When he decided to take a different line on the track from everybody else out here, everybody's sticking tight to that left sideline. That's where Messer went in thin blue line to go out there and take the lead. That's where Jared Nelson was when he took the lead with that Boyd & Sons Midnight Revenger. Just trying to do something different, trying to get an edge out here so he doesn't fall in order with everyone else.
Here comes Tony Tatum and the Parts City Auto Parts truck. Finished 6th in the points 1 year ago. Really had some moments of brilliance. That truck can be very good. And of course, the father of Lisa Tatum. .291 and 10, a very solid effort out here, but you can see they are starting to stack up now in the 290s.
And I think these track conditions are really throwing everyone for a loop, because it's almost like this light sprinkle is acting like a water sprayer on a grader. So it's giving a lot more moisture to the track than they're used to out here. But watch those butterflies on the injector hat, and you can see just how quickly Tony Tatum goes full throttle out there, where Jared Nelson was so patient out there with the Boyd & Sons Midnight Revenger. So I think it's going to take a lot more patience, because they are getting a lot more grip, and they're going to spin those tires off the line if they go to the throttle too early.
Boy, there was a great shot there as well. displaying the experience out of Tony Tatum as he never hit the brake but planted that left rear right on the sideline. All right, here comes the all-in truck called Sullivan. Great looking ride. This thing is beautiful. Brant Sullivan doing the driving here.
Now, Brant has driven the old Big Ed Red machine on the regional circuit, but this is his first effort in the Champions Tour.
Absolutely love the new bow tie bodywork, by the way. Just a gorgeous truck. Look at this distance, 291 and 54. He just sneaks past John Muma's 291 and 51. And we just saw Tony Tatum run 291.10. When I said they were stacking up in the 290s, I mean it is tight.
Well, and his dad, Donnie, better be on the lookout and better up his A-game here when he comes to drive, because Brant just doing a great job. You can see him waiting, tapping a little brake to bring it back around to the center. It does get a little sideways on him, but he just pours the alcohol to it and keeps on. If he would have been able to keep that run straight, man, I can't even imagine what kind of distance he would have put on the board.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's a huge bow in the middle of that hook. If you could have straightened that thing out, man, you'd have to think he'd be right there with the leaders, if not leading. All right, here comes the man, Keith Long, out of Kentucky, the TS Performance back machine called Riding Dirty, and your reigning 2015 class champ. Boy, just off to a sketchy start there. Couldn't get that thing to really settle in. And the distance is well short at 272 and 76.
And you could really see the left bank shooting ducks off the starting line out of two different cylinders out there. Very uncommon to see that out of one of those Long Brothers trucks.
We still have three very tough trucks yet to go in the categories. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by
General Tire. Anywhere is possible.
Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
And just a couple of trucks left in the category here with the super modified two-wheel drive trucks at the Geico Saluda Young Farmer Truck and Tractor Pull presented by E3 Spark Plugs. We just saw Keith Long in the championship winning truck called Riding Dirty. Now this is Keith Long in the truck that finished second in the points 1 year ago. Yes, they had an incredible 2015. Boy, you could hear there, Leslie, he waited a while to go to that full throttle mark. You've got to wonder if that track is getting a little slick out there. 292 and 92, a much better effort here.
And you can see they've just got it super fat on the starting line here. You can see it clean up, watch the butterflies, and you can see just how long he waits. And the front end lifts once he applies all the throttle, but just can't keep that front end up the entire time. So needed a little bit more distribution of weight.
Yeah, really good effort nonetheless at 292 and 92. Solid pass, certainly coming back after that 272 just one truck ago. All right, Reese Shelton coming up here in the cutting edge truck. Young Reese, a talented driver. Of course, his father, a former champion in the category, finished third in the points 1 year ago. A nice rebound from a night ago, but not what this team is used to. They want to be leading the pack, and 284.06 is short.
And I think that most of our competitors left here are trying to avoid stacking it in like you were talking about earlier in that 290 to 295 range out here. So trying something just a little bit different, whether they change some pressure in their tires, they go with a little bit different fuel setting, maybe a different gear selection, maybe move some weights around out there, choose a different place on the track. So many variables that they can change out here. It really is an art and a science, and so difficult for our pullers to get these machines set up exactly right out here. I mean, they make it look so easy, but it is definitely a difficult task.
2014 was Bethany's rookie season. She came out here and won the championship. Came back a year ago, this truck called Sweet Revenge, and she won this hook in 2015. The WT Warrior Tracks sponsored machine. Also Boyd & Sons on the back of that one, 283 and 88.
And the hook looked really good out there, but unfortunately maybe just a different gear and just not the right one for this track.
So that'll wrap up the class here, and Jared Nelson with a solid effort in the only truck over the 300-foot mark, really putting it on the groove here tonight. Tim Messer and Jim Mattingly round out your podium, as we'll send Leslie down there to talk to all of our winners. We'll start off with Tim Messer.
Tim Messer, rough night with weather here, but you guys put the Thin Blue Line, your brand new truck, in second place tonight.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with that. That was the, I guess, the third pass on the new chassis. Couldn't ask for a better run. Just very lucky that we were able to be at the top and finish in such a strong group of trucks.
As they groom the track here at the end of the night, let's take a look at the points. After two hooks, Jared Nelson leading with the Midnight Revenger, just 6 back is Jim Mattingly. Then a little bit of breathing room for John Muma and Donnie Sullivan, who are tied up for third. Let's get it back down to the podium and speak to third, Jim Mattingly.
Jim, an overall great weekend for you guys. Another podium as you tonight pick up third.
I was tickled to death to get here to get third tonight. I mean, it's been a great bunch of trucks, great competition. I'd like to thank Lucas Oil, Optima Battery. I've never mentioned my own shop, Mattingly Machine. We do all of our own in-house motor work, and we do it for a lot of others as well. We're just tickled to be able to compete with these guys this way.
Well, they certainly did a solid job, no question about that. So great time to jump on board. Follow us on social media. Look us up online. We'd love to see you at one of our events as well. Get out here. There's nothing like the sights, sounds, and smells of a tractor pull. Let's go down and talk to our winner, Jared Nelson.
Fighting so many adverse conditions tonight, Jared, how were you able to come out on top?
That is a good question. I don't know. We got lucky. Every once in a while, everybody always says this, you'd rather be lucky than good, and this was one of them. I mean, we just, you got to gamble, you know. You hope the rain don't affect it, but you just kind of make a few different choices that you'd normally make, and they actually paid off. And the truck, like I said, this new full pull chassis, it's proven itself so far. I hope it stays this way, and this is just the start of our season.
Yeah, we have a long way to go for sure. 15 total hooks for the two-wheel drive category, and 2 of them are in the book. So those points have plenty of time to change. Hope you enjoyed all the great truck and tractor pulling action out here from Saluda, South Carolina. For Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.